To you all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj's daily class. Today we are continuing with our Srimad Bhagavatam study of third canto of chapter 1, questions by Vidura. And today's verse is 21. Hare Krishna Maharaj, my humble obeisances to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I'll share my screen, Maharaj, with the verse. Maharaj, you can please take over. Maharaj here. Oh, okay.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tatra Suravasuridvanastim Mananyata Venuja Vani Samsrayam Sampardayam Dagdam Atanusochan Sarvasvatim Pratyag Iyayatusnim. At the place of pilgrimage at Prabhas, can't see the whole translation. Okay. At the place of pilgrimage at Prabhas, it came to his knowledge that all his relatives had died due to violent passion. Just as the entire forest burns due to fire produced by the friction of bamboos. After this, he proceeded west, where the river Saraswati flows. Purport. Both the Kauravas and the Yadavas were relatives of Vidura, and Vidura heard of their extinction due to a fratricidal war. The comparison of the friction of forest bamboos to that of passionate human societies is appropriate. The whole world is compared to a forest. At any moment, there may be a flare-up of fire in the forest due to friction. No one goes to the forest to set it on fire, but only to friction between bamboos. Fire takes place and burns the entire forest. Similarly, in the greater forests of worldly transaction, the fire of war takes place because of the violent passions of the conditioned souls illusioned by the external energy. Such a worldly fire can be extinguished only by the water of the mercy clouds of saints, just as a forest fire can be extinguished only by the raining fall from the clouds. Umagyan timidastasya ginajana salakaya chaksu militam dina tasmai Sri Udave namaha Sri Chaitanya manobistam staptitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadammayam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Pastyatya Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So it's mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, spoken by Lord Krishna. There are three gates leading to hell: lust, anger, and greed. And then Krishna goes on, one who is sane should give these up because they destroy the soul's relationship with God and with everyone else. So these three, lust, anger, and greed, are the primary enemies of the soul. And Krishna mentions this again in the Bhagavad Gita in the third chapter, where he says, and I'll give you that translation right away. Interesting. Krishna speaks a lot about this. It is lust only, Arjuna, which comes born in contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, anger, in which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of the world. So this lust is the desire of the soul to enjoy material things, material activities. It's not simply relegated to one aspect. Lust expands itself into wanting to, and it's like a fire. As a fire continues to blaze, it consumes more and more, and it becomes stronger and stronger. So lust is what we say, the number one enemy of the soul. It simply directs the living entity to want to satisfy their material senses more and more without cessation. There's never any saturation, there's never any sensation, satisfaction that comes by fulfilling one's lusty desires. Sometimes people think, well, if I fulfill my lusty desires or my desires for material happiness, then I feel satisfied. But that satisfaction is just an illusion, because shortly after that satisfaction is there is again the desire reappears. And each time we satisfy it, it reappears in a stronger way. And as Krishna is saying there, when it's not satisfied, it turns into anger. And when it turns into anger, then, as Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, it causes the soul to fall from its position, and it causes others to be victimized by that. And here Prabhupada says, wars take place because of violent compassion for the conditioned souls. So due to unfulfilled desires, just like one country wants to control another country, mostly because of wanting to get the resources of that country. And sometimes that country resists, many times it does, and then there is some conflict and war breaks out, simply because there's unfulfilled desire to satisfy one's greedy senses, both on an individual level, in a family level, community level, society level, and ultimately a national level. And then even it reaches to the stage of international, and then you have violent wars all over the world. So it's just due to this unsatiable desire to enjoy material life more and more, where it has no stopping. Just like countries will lie, cheat, and present various types of programs to hide what they're really trying to do. What are they really trying to do? Gain more power, gain more facilities, gain more various resources. And the world belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This idea of national boundaries is created simply because of culture and differences in human life, human culture. But actually, at one time, the entire world was under one rule, one culture, and that was at the time of Lord Krishna, when the whole world was under one flag. Even before the time of Lord Krishna, it was like that. But now we have almost so many divisions, this country, that country, this nationality. And even within the divisions, there's more divisions based on ideas, groups, interests, programs, policies, directions. So we find is this the world is so fragmented, and fragmentation causes more and more opportunities for conflict. One group doesn't like another or finds the other group interfering with their desires. And so there is conflict, and sometimes it escalates into something very violent. Most of the times it does. Just like today, if you do a little observation, you'll see the world is really going through a lot of difficulties. There is riots, economic crashes, and various types of conflicts all over the world. And nobody has any solutions. Even those who want to make peace in the world, they don't have any solutions. And many times they contribute to the same thing. So, but how can all of this be ameliorated? How can everything be brought back to a human society where human society means people work together for the benefit of each other, assisting each other both in the material sense and in the goal of life? And what it says here, the goal of life is the solution to all of the problems in the world. What is that goal of light? To take shelter of the saintly persons who represent the Supreme Lord. They are like the cloud of mercy. Just like the sun can be compared to the Supreme Lord. So when the sun goes over a body of water, it draws water from that body and forms a cloud. And when that cloud is in the sky, it pours the water back onto the earth for the benefit of others. So in the same way, the cloud is like these saintly persons created by the Lord due to their devotion to the Lord. And they roam around the world. They're in every country and in every society practically. And they speak only about what the Lord says. And ultimately, the Lord is teaching us or guiding us towards our ultimate happiness, which is to engage in service of the Lord. So these great saints, they sacrifice everything. Sometimes they risk their lives in order to do that. It's explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 8th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, verse number 44 in chapter number 7. Can you turn to that verse? 8, 7, 44. It's an interesting verse. It really sums up the characteristics of the great souls, who is actually a great soul. It connects with Lord Shiva, but actually the point is beyond the particular pastimes here. It says here, Tapyanta lokatapena sarva prayasa janam paramaradanam tadi purushasya kilatmanaha. It is said that great personalities almost always accept voluntary suffering because of the suffering of people in general. This is considered the highest method of worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated, who is present in everyone's heart. So their service to the Lord is to bring others, and they accept suffering in order to do that. But that suffering is not like the suffering that we may describe as unfulfilled desires. That suffering is an opportunity to offer something in devotion to the Supreme Lord, despite the fact that it may be very difficult. They accept these difficulties as opportunities to worship the Lord and to bring the conditioned souls back. So these saintly persons are very, very dear to the Lord, and they are there simply to bring the condition, to fulfill the Lord's desire, to bring the conditioned souls back to the Lord in loving devotional service. And that is the solution to all the problems of the world. People are making so many plans, and this will continue to go on. People will adjust their plans, but the basis of the plan is the same, to restructure the material energy in such a way as to make a better solution, to the problems of the world. But you cannot do that with material nature, because material nature is not controlled by us, it's controlled by Krishna. Krishna says, Maya dakshena prakriti suyate satchiracharam. No one can control material energy. When we try to control material energy, it controls us by giving us a reaction for that effort of control, which is disappointment, frustration, and ultimately some form of suffering. But ultimately, it is the mercy of these great souls that make the difference, where all of these frictions of bamboos, as Prabhupada uses a very nice example here, bamboos grow together in the forest, but if there's a wind, the bamboos sometimes scrape against each other, and due to the scraping, there is fire. And then when that fire comes, it can burn down the whole forest. Here we're also finding about what happened to the family members, Kauravas and Yadavas. They fought amongst each other. And ultimately, of course, it was Krishna's arrangement for bringing them back to their position, both in the heavenly planets and in the spiritual world. But what was the reason for their fighting? They had committed an offense to the great sages, committing the offense to the great sages by ridiculing the great sages, turned into their own destruction, although they were Krishna's family members. But you might say, well, it was Krishna's arrangement. Yes, but there is a lesson to be learned here, that these great souls are very rare. And when they come into our life, we should find great opportunities, take advantage of what they are offering. It's not that we simply hear from them and go on with the way we do everything. There has to be a transformation. Through the process of hearing, we're awakening some ideas and some ways that we can improve our life. And in that improvement, there has to be a transformation. Otherwise, there's no improvement. So hearing is the way to enact or react, or we might say reawaken that desire for transformation. But then one has to apply that. And not only do the great souls give them information, the knowledge, but they also tell you how to use that knowledge. So you will benefit from that knowledge. So the highest form of worship is to preach Krishna consciousness to the conditioned soul. But the highest form of spiritual activity within the context of a disciple's relationship is to hear from Krishna, to hear from the great souls. Satam pasangam mamavirya sambidon bhavanti ritkarna rasayana kata. This kata that is given by the great souls is nectar. It brings satisfaction, happiness, and awakens one's attraction for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when you actually are successful on the spiritual platform, it automatically filters down into your material life, because spirituality is not some dry philosophy. It is a way of life that includes all aspects of existence. So whatever situations we have in the material world, by applying those same principles and ideas, formulas, philosophy to our day-to-day life, we energize and spiritualize our life. And that is the foundation for what is called sadhachara. Sadhachara means good qualities or proper behavior like that. Sushila, Prabhupada would say, a person who has all good qualities is called Sushila. And how do they act? They act only for the benefit of others and for the benefit of the Lord. But that benefit is also there for themselves, because when they align themselves with these activities, they're the ones that benefit. Also, when you give happiness to others, you also become happy. When you give service to the Krishna, and Krishna is pleased by your service, then the door to spiritual life becomes wide open. Then you get transcendental knowledge, and you also get detachment from useless material activities. So everything is there in the lives of the great saints. So one should seek out the association of great saints. This is something that is meant to be done on a regular basis, to hear from and seek out this association. It's not a matter of just being routine when the opportunity comes. No, we should be eager. I remember when Srila Prabhupada was traveling around the world, when devotees would find out where he was, many times people would go from country to country or from place to place just to be with Srila Prabhupada and hear from him and be inspired by his presence. So devotees would go out of their way to, travel, to go to either holy places or places where Srila Prabhupada was preaching just to get his association, because they knew how valuable it was, how fundamental it was for their spiritual growth. And one who is eager in this way will always receive the mercy of the Lord, because that eagerness attracts the Lord, as Krishna says in the Srimad Bhagavatam. He said, what is that verse from the first canto, second chapter, verse number 17? Shrinvata Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Ridyanto Sto Abhadrani Vidvinoti Surit Satam. That when the devotee is eager, very eager to hear about the process of devotional service and the glories of the Lord, when the Lord personally comes within the heart of the devotee, he's already there. But then what does he do? He starts cleansing all material desires, and the devotee becomes purified by the mercy of Krishna as through the process of hearing about Krishna and the great souls. Now, this is the process. And the verse before them is Shrushusha Dadananastan Vasudeva Kataruchi Shanmayat Seva Viva Punya Tirtana Sevanya. By serving great souls, great service is done. And by such service, one gets an affinity to hear the message of Vasudeva. So the highest service that one can perform is to serve great souls, because they are serving the Lord directly through their own activities. So you connect with them, and you also receive the full mercy of the Lord. And that is how one can make progress in devotional service. Therefore, taking time and looking for opportunities to associate with great souls is a very big part of our Krishna conscious process. As Srila Prabhupada also said, one should travel to holy places to meet great souls who are there, hear from them, and be benefited by their association, and take the opportunity to also render service whenever it's available. So that's important. That's one of the angas of bhakti. Bhakti has 9 ways, and one of them is to serve the lotus feet. Part of that anga is to associate with and serve great souls, and especially to visit holy places where the great souls reside, because they take up residence in many holy places, and when people come, they speak. And when they speak only about what is beneficial for the conditioned souls evolving to the higher stage of consciousness of Krishna. That is their focus. They may speak on many different subjects, but it all comes back to that one thing, devotion to Krishna, as the sunam bonum, or the conclusion of all philosophical teachings. As Srila Prabhupada said when he was asked, why did you write so much? He said, I wrote so much in order to teach people that you are the eternal servant of Krishna, and your duty is to fulfill that role. in order for you to find happiness and perfection in life. So, yeah. So this world is like, yeah, we're going back to the point here, is like a place where at any time, conflict can be there, but by the extinguishing cloud of the mercy of the great souls, which is like the pouring rain, samsara davan nalalita loka, pranaya karuna guna gunatum, patasya kalyana gunarnavasya, bande guru shri. Charanada Bindu, Gana Gana means fire is fire. It takes place even though no one sets fire. That is the material world. Even if you want to live peacefully in this world, you can't. It's not possible unless you become fixed in devotional service. Then peace automatically becomes your companion. But if you try to become peaceful by making some nice arrangement in this world, you'll find there is no such thing. Because a nice arrangement means something that you conceive of, which is subject to the movement of the material energy. So even if you come up with some nice plan, if it's not sanctioned by the Lord or it's not connected with the Lord, it will not have any effect to fulfill your desires. Yeah. So here, padam padaya vipadam, that this material world is a dangerous place. Take shelter of the great souls. As Prabhupada was asked, what is the safest place in this material world? Prabhupada said, at the lotus feet of the spiritual master, that is the safest place. And that lotus feet connects one to the lotus feet of Krishna. Okay, thank you. Can open it up for some discussion.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Such a wonderful class. Thank you so much. The devotees, please raise your hands if you have any questions or comments, and please turn on your cameras if possible. Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu, please go ahead.
Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, sometimes we can see the evidence of what you've been saying. Like sometimes we become very eager and enthusiastic, and we start to see that there is some kind of divine energy that's helping us, and it's doing more for us than we are even capable of ourselves. But then after a while, it seems that we kind of like get hit by some kind of, I don't know if it's material energy or contamination, and we lose that eagerness, and we have rekindling of like some old material desires, and it takes some time and effort before we get back to where we were before and being eager and enthusiastic again. So how do we deal with this? How can we understand this and deal with it?
Well, until one is free from any desire to enjoy this material world, there will be that ups and downs. There will also be attacks by the material energy. One of those attacks that the desire to fulfill some material desire. Although you may not be acting on it, if it still hasn't been purified, it will come up in different situations, even if you don't plan it. So therefore, the solution is to continue in your devotional service and keep your mind focused on the goal of life. When these things come up, you somehow or other go back, keep your consciousness on Krishna and devotional service. And they will become less effective as time goes on, as we make more progress in devotional service. And the essence of our progress really is to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and serve Vaishnavas. As we were talking about here, serving great souls, that includes Vaishnav Seva. So these two things, Vaishnav Seva and chanting the holy names, is is the armor that we have to protect us from the onslaughts of this material energy. And at the same time, they're the weapons by which we use to make progress towards the goal of life. So there'll be disturbances. Even great souls sometimes undergo disturbances, but they know what it is, and therefore they just brush it off and go on with their Krishna consciousness. Or if the disturbance becomes something they have to get involved with, they always depend on Krishna, and the solution to their situation always becomes available. Because Krishna protects the devotees, he energizes his devotees, and he, what we say, gives intelligence to the devotees. He said, I am the intelligence of the intelligence. I am the ability in all living entities. So the solution always comes back to the quality of our relationship with the process of devotional service. Therefore, all this knowledge is there, coming from Srila Prabhupada in his books, coming from the past acharyas who have explained the same thing in different ways in different historical settings. So, yeah, disturbances will be there. Even today, we find ourselves not wanting to be disturbed, but for instance, even when you're engaged in devotional service, say you have to somehow depend on certain material situations to work in such a way as to facilitate your devotional service. And sometimes those situations are not there. For instance, we are in India now and we're trying to travel, but then there's a crisis with airlines, and it's causing everything to go topsy-turvy here when it comes to travel right now. Travel right now is difficult in India, and people are scrambling to find ways to continue their travels, although there's now a shortage of conveyances that are available due to various types of problems that have arisen. So these are disturbances that are required to somehow deal with. But what do? You depend on Krishna and you work accordingly. You just have to accept it and take it as part of your purification in devotional service.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Don't look for easy life. Look for service. If you look for easy life, you'll never find it. If you look for service, you'll find it.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Maharaj, we have two questions on chat by Daria. I don't know, it's Mataji or Prabhuji. So, Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada and Maharaj. Sorry, I'm at work and not able to unmute and turn on the camera. I have two questions. How do we find and get association with saintly persons, since it's sometimes difficult to travel and know where to travel to holy places?
Well, wherever you are, there's always holy men around. You have to find them. They're there in practically every part of the world. That's true. As the devotees go traveling, they go to different countries, to different places. They go in and out, but there's always opportunities to take part and find out one such saintly persons. But then even within your own area of livelihood, there are devotees there who are very advanced in Krishna consciousness. You have to seek them out. That's all. And they're there. If you want that association, you have to make it an effort, and you'll get it. But if you want it to come to you, you may not find it.
Yes. And another question is in the beginning, Maharaj referred to BG, how our desires lead to list in contact with material energy. Does it mean there is no love in this material world, only for Krishna?
Could you repeat the first part of the question?
Yes, Maharaj. In the beginning, Maharaj referred to Bhagavad Gita, how our desires lead to lust in contact with the material energy. Does it mean there is no love in this material world? Only
Yeah,
Krishna.
that's been said by the Krishna and by the acharyas, that what goes on love to this material world is a form of selfishness. Therefore, people connect with each other to get something from each other. Love, in its actual definition, means to give without any desire for receiving. That's love. When you have no personal interest to fulfill, and you are attracted to give to others for their benefit, that's love. And that comes out in affection also, but that comes in with that love can be shown to everyone, but for a few we develop affection for them. Sometimes they're called family members and friends. But in general, the saintly persons, they love everyone. Why? Because they love Krishna. Therefore, they're always trying to do good for everyone as a service to Krishna. So yeah, there's no love in this world. Prabhupada said the closest thing you can find to real love in this world is a mother's love for her little child. It's the closest thing, because the child can't really reciprocate. It's completely dependent on the mother. And the mother's just giving, giving, giving. And the child's receiving, receiving, receiving. Because there is a desire to please and to take care of that child, she doesn't ask anything in return for herself. She'll, give up her sleep if she has to, give up what she would like to do to take care of the child. All of these things are indications of putting the child before her own interest. That's love. When you find that in any other relationship, then that's actually love. But it's hard to find that in this relationship, because people usually bind together for some reciprocal exchange. I'll do this, 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 and this for you if you do this, 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 and this for me. And when it breaks down on one side or another, then the relationship falls apart. So what seems to be some attraction is not really love, it's just some physical attraction. You can get physically attracted to anything, not just the opposite sex. That doesn't mean that's love. Love is service. Love is selfless. Love starts where sacrifice begins.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Amritanam Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. So on this topic, just recently what you mentioned, Guru Maharaj, that in this material world, we basically each other, we always in the exchanging mood. So, and I just wanted to mention my realization is if we try to love in the way that you are mentioning without any conditions, it comes with a lot of sacrifices.
Yeah.
And you have to undergo a lot of sacrifices.
Yeah, that's what it means to love. To put everything aside for the benefit of that person you want to show love for. Look what Prabhupada had to do to spread this movement. He risked his life, undergo so many heart attacks. He was happy simply staying in Vrindavan. But for the satisfaction of his Krishna and his spiritual master, and to show compassion to the fallen souls, he accepted all of these hardships. That's love. Radharani wants to be with Krishna, but sometimes Krishna wants to be with another gopi. So Radharani knows that, and she wants to please Krishna. So she goes to that other gopi and teaches that other gopi how to serve Krishna nicely. And if that gopi serves Krishna nicely and Krishna is pleased, then Radharani is happy. Although she would like to be with Krishna also. Now she sacrifices herself in order to give another chance for another person to get Krishna's association, Krishna's mercy. Yeah, so putting aside, yeah, that's the nature of love. Love means I only care about you. I'm not worried about what happens to me as long as I can serve you and please you.
So, Guru Maharaj, you gave the example of Prabhupada. That was for carrying out this movement, and he is on the level of Nitya Siddha, definitely. But when we deal with the karmis, is it the same formula? Does the same formula applies? Because they are also jivas. So, do we have to apply this same thing, or we have
Well,
to take it in other?
take it as the mercy of your spiritual master, carrying out his instructions and working to please him by doing what he would want you to do. That's all. He would like to show compassion to others. And so if you do it on his behalf, under his guidance and instructions, he's very much pleased. So that's, you may not have that compassion for those conditioned souls, but in relationship to Krishna and your spiritual master, you want to please them. You want to show love for them, so you carry out their instructions in order to show compassion to others. You do it as a service. You may not do it deeply in the mood of that in compassion, but you do it as a service. And when you do it as a service, it actually becomes realized. You start feeling that same way. The greatest happiness,
Yes.
that the spiritual master experiences is when he sees his devotees making advancement in Krishna consciousness. They might give him so many things for his birthday or on his parents' day or just in general, but that's extra. That's for the benefit of the devotees. But what really pleases the spiritual master is when he sees the devotees are actually making progress in Krishna consciousness. Because that means all of his efforts are actually becoming realized.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
If you have
I
your
hope
child,
I'm.
right? And you're trying to take care of your child. Sometimes you may not be able to take care of your child perfectly, but someone comes along and helps you and pleases your child and does something for the benefit of your child. How happy you feel towards that person.
Yes, Maharaj. I got your point. Thank you.
Yeah,
Please help me with this journey, and I hope I may please you with that. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
you'll be happy when we start acting not so much for ourselves, but for others. We find more happiness in life.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Until we come into Krishna consciousness and do some service to the Lord, we don't realize that we are getting happiness through that. Material life, I think we all do some things for others, but it's very small. But in Krishna consciousness, when we do the service, then only we get this happiness.
Then we do something for everything. In the material world, we expect some reciprocation for that.
Mm.
We don't get the reciprocation, we lose our enthusiasm.
Mm. Yes, Maharaj. There is a
Spiritual-
question. Sorry.
In spiritual life, the activity itself is satisfying.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, Maharaj. So there is a question on chat by Prahlad Narsimha Prabhu. He is asking, Hare Krishna Day Gurmaj, please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Gurmaj, how can we discern between our own strong desires and the divine will of the Lord? How do we recognize and surrender to His sanction rather than following our own inclinations?
Well, what would be the benefit of following your own inclinations? You may have so many inclinations, but if you accept the Lord as being perfect and you accept his plan for you as perfect, then you'll see that will be my best interest. You have to have faith that the spiritual master and Krishna are there for your benefit. By following them, you're the one that's benefiting. But if you don't see that, or you don't have that full faith, then you may accept your own plan as being more desirable or more beneficial. But then you have to see, is my plan in line with Krishna's or with my spiritual master's instruction? If it is, fine. If it's not, then it's not going to bring you any satisfaction or happiness.
Yes, yes, Guru Maharaj. But sometimes what happen, we want to act in the in the instructions of our spiritual master, and what happens is we do not succeed, and that time we don't understand why our like we were following the instructions and we did not succeed in that. So what to
Well,
do that time?
we have to define success in a certain way. What is the success? The outcome of the activity or the mood of the service? Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, offer me a leaf, flower, fruit, or water with love, and I'll accept. He's not so much interested in the activity, but he's interested in the love. So if you're trying to please Krishna, even if the activity falls short of the desired result, then that's still bhakti. Ayabilasita sunya jnana karmarnavatam anukulena Krishna silanam bhakti uttamam. Yeah. The desire to please Krishna is bhakti. The desire to follow strictly the instructions given by Krishna through the spiritual master, that's bhakti. Results you can't make happen. Results are not within your power. You can try for results. Sometimes we become very result oriented in our service. Like we want to distribute a lot of Bhagavad Gitas, especially now during the Christmas marathon. Today I was sitting in the temple. They were reading the book scores from yesterday. This is just one temple. They distributed over 4,500 Bhagavad Gitas in one day, just yesterday, close to 5,000. So, I mean, you think that's really wonderful, and we want big numbers. But how will all of those Bhagavad Gitas actually go into hands of people who will benefit from it? Or will they just be taken, put on the shelf, given away to others or anything? Of course, we don't even think about that. We just think about getting the books out and leaving the results up to Krishna or to destiny. Still, it's the effort that pleases Krishna. Maybe not the results may not always be, ideal. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, fix your mind upon me and hear from me. If you do this, then you can know me free from doubt. You can know me in full, free from doubt. But fixing your mind on Krishna means fixing your mind on Krishna's service, or the service given to us by the spiritual master. Same thing. 2 + 2 is 4, 3 and 1 is 4. Two people might argue, 3 and 1 is 4. No, 2 + 2 is 4. No. So they'll go back and forth. But the argument is useless because both of them are right.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Dear devotees, any more questions or comments? Maharaj, I was thinking about the desires, unlimited desires we have. So even though as a practicing devotee, we are reducing our material desires, but sometimes we have these spiritual desires like for our plans, for our future, all that. So if those desires are unfulfilled, even though they are spiritual, or will we coming back again in this material world to fulfill those desires, or they will be nullified by Krishna, or how it will happen, Maharaj?
Spiritual desires don't bring any reactions to it. But to ensure the fulfillment of our spiritual desires, we should work under the guidance of the spiritual master. And when we take on, you might say, an important service, we should get blessings and permission for the spiritual master.
Mm.
Like, for instance, it mentions in the Bhagavatam that if a husband and wife want to have a child, which is natural for family life, to build a family. So what do they need to successfully bring a child into the world? They need the permission and blessings of their spiritual master. If they fail to get that and go ahead trying to produce a child, they may find themselves getting a soul that is not conducive to spiritual life. In other words, it's risky when you bring a soul into the world, but if you get the blessings and follow the process, then you can guarantee a good soul will enter into the womb, and that soul will have a nice start in spirit in his next life. So, but if devotees fail to get the blessings and permission of the spiritual master, they think, why should I bother the spiritual master for that? But Prabhupada writes about it. He said, it must happen. You must ask the spiritual master before you conceive a child. Otherwise, then you may also go at risk. So therefore, get blessings. That's even, Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yasoda, before they had children, they would always announce to the entire village that this was their plan and seek the blessings of all the villagers in Vrindavan. Prabhupada writes about that in the Bhagavatam. To ensure a good soul will enter into the womb. You might say, I shouldn't bother the spiritual master with such thought. You can read it. It's in the 7th canto, 12th chapter, verse number 11, 7, 12, 11, how it's incumbent or mandatory to get blessings before beginning family. So that's just an example I'm using to show how when we seek the blessings of the spiritual master and engaging in devotional service, we ensure ourselves good outcome, and it becomes easier to please the Supreme Lord by our activities. Because he's pleased when we follow the instructions and guidance of our spiritual teachers.
Yeah.
For little things, day-to-day little things, then we just go on and do things according to how we understand the need, or like basic needs and how to do things. But when it comes to something that is more significant, like organizing our sadhana, or as I said, producing a child, or You do even big projects such as setting up various types of preaching programs. No, in other words, anything that has some significance in spreading Krishna consciousness or in our own edification and spiritual life, look for the blessings of the spiritual master. And if your spiritual master is not present, then just sit in front of Prabhupada and pray. and ask for blessings. Ask for permission.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah. And also, I want to share with you, with Your Holiness, that recently I heard a class where that Mataji is mentioning about Shuddha Bhakti, that pure devotional service, and going back to Godhead. So the way she explained in the class, I understood that whatever little Krishna consciousness practice we are doing, that is not enough to go back to Godhead, and we still have we should become a full-time devotee and always be in the association of devotees, to reach that goal of going back to Godhead. So yeah, it was an eye-opening class, and um, yeah, it was very wonderful. And she is part of Daivi Varnashrama ministry, and she was emphasizing on devotees coming together and being together in a farm community, and following Daiva Varnashrama system.
Her point is correct, yeah. When you divide your time, you're accepting two masters.
Yes, Maharaj.
As it says in the scripture, Christian scriptures, one cannot serve two masters. One will hate the other and or despise the other. And in other words, there will never be a clear connection between Krishna as long as you're still trying to fulfill your desires for happiness in this material world. I'm not talking about maintaining your life in this material world. That's necessary. As a grihasta, there is family responsibilities, and there's also needs. That's concluded within the process of grihasta ashram. But I'm talking about when you're still looking towards the material world for some kind of satisfaction, happiness, or solutions to your desires, to your desires in this world. Material desires are being explained. They're there throughout scriptures. When you focus on something that is outside of Krishna, and you want to find satisfaction and happiness in it. Okay, I'm supposed to eat prasadam, but boy, I want to go to this restaurant because it has really nice food. It's not prasadam, but still I like it. So the principle for a devotee is always take prasadam. Prasadam is Krishna. Prasadam is Krishna's mercy. Prasadam is purifying. Eating food cooked by non-devotees, as Krishna says in the Gita, causes sinful reactions. People don't know it, but that's why they suffer so much, because they don't follow the standard principles given for basic activities in this world, how to live.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu, please go ahead.
Well, very much. Sometimes we're not sure, because we always get opportunities to do various things and in things that might happen in our lives. Sometimes we're not sure whether it's something that we should approach the spiritual master with or not. So are there any guidelines, or if in doubt, we should just ask anyway?
Well, you may also approach those who know. That's why the spiritual master may not always be approached on everything, but we have association with devotees also. We also learn from the scriptures. We learn from hearing from the spiritual teachers. We get some intelligence. What is the foundation for how we choose? Will this be in line with my spiritual life, or is just my desire to perform some activity for my own self? So the fundamental principle is what's beneficial for my spiritual progress. Ask that question and then see and reason based on what is the situation you find yourself.
Thank you, Raj.
It's absolutely necessary for us to use electronic devices for communication in this age. But then we can misuse that by just going everywhere and spending so much time on it just to fulfill our fantasy for learning things that have nothing to do with our spiritual life.
Thank you, Raj. And thank you so much for your answer to Prahlad Narasimha Prabhu's question, because your answer really hit the spot for me, because I had a bad day on book distribution, where it was bad in terms of no one taking books, but it was good in terms of I was staying determined and focused and thinking, I'm doing this to please Guru Srila Prabhupada and Krishna, and I'm going to keep trying my best.
Did you sell one book today?
I haven't been out today. I'll go in the evenings, but like yesterday, it was nobody was answering the doors when they did open. They were closing them straight away. It was just not a single book that particular day. And previous days it was ranged, but there was always some going out. But that particular day it was like, and I was like feeling a bit despondent. But now I feel happier after your answer.
If you give up because of results, then that's material. But if you think, I'll still keep trying because this is the instructions of my spiritual master, this will please Krishna, this is what conditioned souls need in order to get out of their suffering. If you think like that, even if you are not successful, you'll continue to keep trying, that's all, and you'll be successful.
Thank you, Guru Raj.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dear devotees, any more questions or comments? Maharaj, we don't have any questions.
We had 40 people on at one time.
Yes.
Only Krishna Das Kaviraj and Prahlad Nasringa and Amrita Nam ask questions. Let's see if there's some other thoughtful person out there.
Dear Maharaj.
Give it a few seconds. If not, we can move on. Radha Vinodini.
Okay. Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to you. It may not be so much connected to this topic, but lately I was wondering that many times devotees use this principle of Yukta Vairagya in order to sometimes it feels like we just want to use things we want to use and just rationalize in Krishna consciousness that it's proper to use them. And I was wondering if everything has the same potential in Krishna's service. For example, generally, whatever we offer to him is in the mode of goodness, or some things are more convenient or more easy to use in service, and the method in using in service. So could you share something connected to this, how we can decide what is proper to use, not just to misuse this principle?
Well, again, you have to see if it's in line with the instructions of the spiritual master, with the instructions of scripture. That's basically the foundation by which we can judge. But then again, it takes some sincerity. If you want to do the right thing, then that is pretty much enough to make the decision. But if you're thinking, well, let me do something different just because I want to do it. You have to see if it's in line with devotional service. The most important thing outside of our service is the qualities we exhibit, the character we display, the mood by which we act and interact with others. These are very important parts of our spiritual progress, and they inspire others also, purify us. And so aside from whatever service we have, we're trying to focus and cultivate our qualities that are in line with Vaishnava qualities. That's more or less the focus we should be thinking of. How to become more humble, how to become more tolerant, how to become more less judgmental of others, how to become unaffected by happiness and distress, how to use my time wisely. These are things we should focus on.
This is such a deep point which you mentioned, and it's really useful because, for example, I have this experience that sometimes we use certain tools in Krishna's service, which improperly used can cause to be more lazy or something like that. So it's obviously the point is not that we work more, because it's not that not the point of service to work more, but when it results certain qualities like become more lazy, then obviously it's detrimental. So probably it's really a matter of consciousness, but it really needs sincerity. Yeah.
Well, one of the qualities of a devotee is enthusiasm, which is the nullifier of laziness. Laziness is a quality that really destroys our devotional life, because there's nothing lazy about Krishna consciousness. It's active, and the devotee's always thinking, how can I serve now? Like even Srila Prabhupada, sometimes when he didn't have anything to do, in other words, he'd sit down and he'd just take out the harmonium and start singing bhajans. He could be doing other things, but he liked to sing bhajans, so that's bhakti. When he wasn't meeting guests or wasn't traveling or working with his on-site devotees, sometimes he just start chanting bhajans. You can always kill laziness by thinking, all right, let me do something. All right, let me chant. All right, I'll pick up my beads and start chanting. Or I'll start reading something from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. Or I'll see what services I need to do in order to improve my quality of my service. In other words, what little things I can do that will help in my overall service. Devotees always thinking. They work all day like that, and then when it goes time to go to sleep, they lay down, they're out. And when they get up, the first thing they do is remember Krishna, pay their obeisances, go through their bodily needs, and then jump into Krishna consciousness. That's how you have to live. it's something that is continuous. It's not there's some break there. In household life, you have to do other things, but they're also done in the spirit of bhakti also. Taking care of children and maintaining the household, it's all done in the same mood.
You described so amazingly how a devotee acts that I just felt like, wow, I really would like to be a devotee. It was really inspiring.
I
Yeah,
think-
actually, behind this question was some certain thoughts, and that's why I was asking, because I had some arguments sometimes with devotees about AI, and my experience is that AI causes us to become lazy and not being so creative, because we just think that, okay, I will type into ChatGPT and it will give me ideas, and I just pick the proper one, and somehow I think that using it on the long term is really not beneficial, but yeah, anyway, that's a different topic. So yeah.
Yeah, this is a personal movement. AI is not personal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just sometimes devotees said that, yeah, this is just a tool similar to like a car or something like that, and I was really wondering about it, if it's really that easy or not, because probably it's possible to use it properly, but it really needs intelligence how it's possible, and very easy to use it in a wrong way.
From my experience, the taking it as a holistic thing, there's more harm that can be done than good.
Mhm.
And that's a general statement, but that's basically what I see.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
can't
I totally agree. Mhm.
with machines and expect to get a quality of life. You know, machines can't give you love. They can't give you compassion. They can't give you reasoning. They can only give you information.
Yes, I had some experience that, for example, there was some kind of devotional song generated by AI, and it really lacked the depth, which comes by realization, and and so it doesn't really inspire. Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for the
Thank
answer.
you, Nini, for inspiring all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Amritaram Mataji, please go ahead.
Just make a statement. Everyone pray very sincerely. Radha Vinodini is going through some physical struggles. So offer your prayers to Krishna and to your spiritual master, that my dear Krishna, my dear spiritual master, if you so desire, please cure Radha Vinodini of her present situation. We never say, this is what I want. We say, I want, this is what I want only if you want it. So, yeah, she's going through some tough times now, but anyway, life is like that. Sometimes we can somehow or other, devotees' prayers have a big difference. When Krishna hears them, he said, oh, all right, this is what they want. Okay.
Guru Maharaj, you're really kind. Maybe I complained a little bit too much, but it's not so difficult. But anyway, thank you. I just hope that I can be in proper spiritual consciousness.
Well, yeah, that's the most important thing because the body is what it is. Sometimes it's working okay, and sometimes, and most of the times it's not.
Yes, Maharaj.
Thank you very much.
We pray for you, Mataji. Amritaram Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. When when we deal with the karmis, there are many questions from them, and we present the logics or our thoughts on the basis of Shastras usually, as we are wired in that way, as we are trained in that way. So, but the issue comes that they eventually get frustrated because we can claim on the basis of Shastras, but they cannot. So that frustrates them.
No,
So,
the best thing to do with devotees like Nandava is you understand the principle that Shastra is explaining, and then you explain it in your own words in a practical way, so they can understand. They'll be more receptive to that. You use example, use your own experience, and just try to speak the values and the principles that Shastra is saying, but use it in your own words. Prabhupada talks about that. He says to read, understand, and explain in your own words is better than repeating the Shastras. That's a statement. I can show you. I have it up on it was just recently we did a maybe the devotees, Shakshi was there, I think, and who else? The devotees from Ujjain when I gave that class, 3 days. Prabhupada had a parrot, and next to it, a parrot, there was a statement. Parrot can say anything. You can teach a parrot, Bhagavad Gita. So just by parroting the philosophy doesn't really inspire people, or they feel it too hard. Learn what that verse says, break it down, explain it in your own words, and if you can, use examples in your own life. That's more convincing. That's preaching.
Yes, Maharaj.
thank
You
you
want,
very much. I think this is very valuable thing.
you want
I
me to
need to learn.
you want me to show you the parrot?
Yes, Maharaj.
Show you the parrot.
Yes, Maharaj.
You want me to?
Yes, Maharaj, please.
Okay, I'll be right back here. Let me see. I'll take a second here to find Mr. Parrot. Okay. It's interesting because it's a statement that has a lot of power to it, and it should be understood in the right way. Okay. Once I get it up, I have to learn how to share screen, right?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, so let me find Mr. Parrot here. Okay, we're coming close. Okay, we got him. Okay, so I brought, now let me see, share screen. How do I get to share
Yeah,
screen?
you come onto Zoom and click on the green button, Maharaj.
Come back to Zoom. Oops. No, wait, I just went to the wrong place here. Okay, click on the green button. Okay, share. Okay, and now then I hit my
Then you
image.
select that parrot window and click on share again. If it is a video, then we can share sound too, good man.
There's no video, it's just something to read.
Okay.
So and then okay, now it says share, right?
Yes, Maharaj.
Can you see it?
It's coming up, Maharaj. It's not yet.
Hmm.
Yes, now we can see.
Okay. So what does it say?
Simply quoting verses like a parrot will not be very much beneficial. One must apply Jnanam Vijnana Sahitam. So we must know the Vijnana how practically that is taught by the Goswamis. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. That's what that is.
So now he's speaking a verse, so explain that verse in a way that can be understood. Jnana, knowledge, vijnana, practically application. So we must know vijnana, how practically that verse applies.
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, Amrita.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Got it. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay.
Anand Sagar Prabhuji.
You're back out of here. Stop
Yeah, you
sharing.
can stop sharing. Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. You are sharing screen. Stop sharing. Okay. Hey, I did pretty good. That, I'm busy. I got lucky today.
You know it, Guru Maharaj. You already done it many times. You
Yeah, when it comes to anything electronic, I have two left feet.
Anand
Yes,
Sagar.
yeah.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, Dandat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. Maharaj, I have one question. One day I was trying to preach to my colleague who is a Christian. So I was trying to tell him that all the living entities have souls in them. That's why we generally don't eat animals in Hinduism. So, but he told me that in Christianity they believe that animals and birds they only have life here, no soul. So, so in such cases, Maharaj, how do we explain to Christians that animals and birds also have souls?
So when the soul comes into the body, there's life. When the soul leaves the body, there's no life. So birds, what was the other category he said? Birds
Animals and birds.
and birds are also life. Animals, they have children, they eat, they sleep, they even protect their own children. They show all kinds of life symptoms. They sleep, they get angry. And birds also, they have their, if you get close to a bird, it'll fly away. It's protecting itself. So where did they get this idea that animals and birds don't have souls? It's not in the scriptures, not in the Christian scriptures either. Maybe a few Christians who don't know the scriptures make some statements. But whatever there is life, there is a soul. Soul means life. Body has no life. Body is simply a combination of material elements. You can't create life by putting material elements together and expect life to generate. Life comes from God. God gives life. God also ends life. Everything's there. What's the difference? Prabhupada would use the example. What's the difference between an animal and a little child? Not much difference. The child has almost is like a little animal, can't do anything by itself. So, but you can't say that that child has no soul. It is living. So, in the same way, animals, although they may have symptoms like a children, in other words, they don't have any great intelligence, still they have life because life means the presence of the soul. And you'll see life symptoms also in animals. You see life symptoms in birds also. They eat, they sleep, they mate, they defend. These are all life symptoms. But they have no logic. They just quote things out of because it sounds good. And that's an excuse to enjoy eating some kind of flesh. Because they have to rationalize their sinful activity by putting some idea into it that makes it sound like it's okay. It's not. Yeah, they use that excuse just so they can enjoy eating meat. That's all.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah, you can tell them that. Tell what's the difference between a little child and an animal? No, well, not much difference. The life symptoms are very simple in both, but that doesn't mean that the little child is not a soul. The animal also. Animals have feelings. If you disturb the animal, he'll show some disturbance. If you're very nice and kind to the animals, they also act in the same way.
Mm.
I mean, the evolution of religion in the world has gone through many stages of ignorance. They haven't come to the right understanding. But I don't think these are the tenets of scripture. They're just ideas by a few Christians that don't know anything. Prabhupada had dealt with, what was it? That one priest from France. What was his name? Can't remember his name. There was a Christian priest from France. And they were probably, he was saying, yeah, animals don't have souls. And Prabhupada was trying to explain, what was his name? Sri Devi still there? No, she's gone now. She'll probably know who it is.
You want me to search up, Maharaj?
Let's see. What was his name? Anyway, the name says secondary, but Prabhupada really laid into him. Pretty much, they told him, you don't know anything, and gave him so many reasons. Later on, that same priest was found in a prostitute house. He was having sex with some prostitute. Same priest that Prabhupada was talking to. Yeah,
Cardinal Jean.
Cardinal Danilou. I think
Jean.
Danilou, yeah.
Okay.
That means he's more above the priest.
Mm.
Danilou, yeah. Yeah, so they don't have any philosophy, a lot of them. They just speak something based on some observation. And even their observation is fraught with, unclarity, no clarity. Wherever you see life, that's the soul.
Mm.
Krishna says, Aham bija apadapita. I am the seed-giving father of all living beings. Okay, Ananda.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj. Dear devotees, any more questions or comments? Okay. Maharaj, we are past 1.5 hours. And Dariya Mataji, she has 2 more questions. Is it okay to take them, Maharaj?
Getting really little late, I think.
Yes, Maharaj.
Tell her to hold the questions for tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah. Sure. Dariya Mataji is from ISKCON Zurich, and she is getting inspired by your classes. She got an association of Anand Sagar Prabhuji and Rasvilasni Mataji, and they introduced her to these classes. So
Nice. Thank you. So
tomorrow is Harrisburg's class, Maharaj, and tomorrow's verse is Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, chapter 6, verse number 13, 6.13. And it's in the same time.
It's CC.
Adi Leela, chapter 6, verse 13.
Okay. Yeah, I
Thank
think you said that to me, didn't you?
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah.
So we flipped this Chaitanya Charitamrita. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much to all the devotees. And take some time and read tomorrow's verse and get prepared for the class.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Such a wonderful association and nice discussion today. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, His Holiness Chandramauli Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you so much.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you for